Inspecting your rig. Really? You should be doing it anyway, but you definitely need to do it if you're renting it out. Hey y'all, welcome to Ginger Walkabout. We're back in the garage with Lucille. Another entry into the renting saga. So if you've looked into renting out your RV, you will know that Outdoorsy specifically has a quarterly inspection requirement. That is to make sure that the systems in your rig are in working order, so that, renters take it out, everything's good to go. It's also required for their insurance. At first, I was really annoyed by this, y'all. I was like, seriously? But then I realized, you really should be doing this stuff anyway. And I've gone over some of it when I did my, getting your house in order and the engine stuff. And so I've done some of this, but we're going to get real specific to Outdoorsy's requirements. So why Outdoorsy and really any other rental platform requires a regular inspection is to make sure that, you're renting this rig to somebody that, will have varying degrees of experience with RVs of any kind. And so you don't want to get into a situation where the renter gets in an accident or something bad happens and they come back and say, well, I hit that other car because the brakes were bad on your rig that you rented to me. So now you're getting into a whole liability sitch, right? So the deal is, Outdoorsy actually provides a form. We'll go over that. And you have to complete the form every 90 days and keep it on file. You don't have to submit it to Outdoorsy or anything, but you need to have it on file. If you don't have it on file and something goes wonky with your rental, Outdoorsy's insurance or your insurance could come back and be trying to deny claims because you didn't inspect the rig to make sure these things were in working order. Makes sense. It is a litigious world we live in. So we're going to inspect Lucille. I'm going to show you how I do it, and hopefully that will help you. And even if you're not renting out your rig, you should be doing these inspections anyway. Just safety first, y'all. All right, so here's the checklist. Now, you do not have to take your vehicle to a mechanic every 90 days to get this done. You can do it yourself if you got a little bit of knowledge and a couple of tools. It's not that hard. So here's the checklist. I printed it out. What I'm probably going to do is go through all this, fill it out, take some pictures, and then upload all of it to a file on my computer, and it'll just sit there, and then I'll, do the same thing again in 90 days. Okay, so the first part is just your RV information. Pretty basic. I'm using my thumb to cover up part of my VIN so you don't, steal my vehicle or something. Okay, so then we get down here to the maintenance performed status. Now, I went back and found the last time I did an oil change at the Ram dealership and put that date in here. And so let's get started on the rest of these items. Okay, so obviously generator service is not a thing as I do not have a generator. So first thing, tire inspection. All right, here's tires. So first thing we're going to look at is the born on date, okay? Your tire should have stamped into the sidewall. You'll see DOT usually. There we go. Can you see that? DOT. And then that last set of numbers. So I don't know if you can see that, but it says 0319. That means that this tire was born in the third week of 2019. So Nexen says their tires expire in 5 years. Some people say 6. But I'd go, if you're renting it out, I'd go 5. So that's how long I have until these absolutely have to be replaced, right? So I got another 3 years, regardless of tire condition and wear. Okay, so then we gotta look at tread, because that's a big thing, right? You won't be rolling around in a 9,000-pound vehicle with bald tires, okay? All right, couple ways you can check tread. First of all, you could get a tread gauge. I do not have one, so I'm going to use the old faithful penny method. So, you take a penny, you find Abe's head, you stick him head down into the tread. If you cannot see the top of Abe's head, you're good. If you can, you are not good. All right, so we cannot see the top of Abe's head. We cannot see the top of Abe's head. And we cannot see the top of Abe's head. So we are good on tread. The other way you can look at this is through the tread wear indicator. On this particular brand of tires, which is Nexen, these are the OEM tires that came from Winnebago on this rig. Actually, I don't know if Winnebago changes them or they come standard on the ProMaster. I think they're probably standard on the ProMaster, but correct me if I'm wrong. Anywho, Nexen tire wear indicator, if you look on the sidewall, it's this little triangle, okay? So wherever you see a little triangle, that means that's where the tread wear indicator is. So you find a triangle, and then you look at the actual tread. Get a little light in here, see if you can see it. It's hard for me. So that's a tread wear indicator. See that little bump? So when that bump gets to be flush with the rest of the tread, the top of the tread, that is, you are done. You have reached your legal limit of wearing down your tires. You best get some new tires. Now, I personally would not let it go that far. Now, obviously, you want to, make sure, look around, make sure there's no big bulges sticking out. There's no, nothing crazy. Here's another tread wear indicator. And as you can see, it goes across. There's another one in that groove. And then here's another one in that groove. So those go all the way across, right? This particular tire has 3 grooves. And that's where the tread wear indicators are. Anyway, so yeah, you want to make sure, and you also kind of got to try to look inside. Make sure there's no bulges in your sidewall on the inside where you couldn't see them. So I'm going to do that on all 4 tires and make sure they're all good to go. Okay, so tire inspection was done today. Today is January 31st, 2021. Okay, times 4. All right, the brake check's probably going to be the harder one. You either have to, you have to have a way to look at your brake pads and your rotors. You can, the easiest way is take tires off. But I'm not going to take the tires off. We've discussed. I'm not jacking this thing up and taking tires off to look at the brakes. So here's what I got. All right, so from the Amazon, I got this Depth Tech. This is a little scope, okay? So you turn it on, and this is actually a little Wi-Fi transmitter, and you link it to your phone. So you're using your phone as a screen. And then this little end on the end of the cable goes into things, and it's got a camera and a light in there, and it lets you see stuff. Now, traditionally, you would have used this to look inside of a wall, maybe, to look inside of a pipe, whatever. But I'm going to use it to inspect my brakes. So let me show you how that works. Okay, so Lucille the van has disc brakes. So you can kind of start to see the disc right there. And then over here, you can start to see the caliper. And then in there are your brake pads, right? but obviously the tire's kind of in the way. So now, without your little scope, the first thing you can certainly do, just using your eyeballs or your finger, is you can get in here and just run your finger along the rotor, right? So this big circular metal thing, that's what the brake pad pushes against to slow the vehicle down, okay? So if your brake pads are bad or your rotors need to be turned or something like that, you may start to get grooves in this in the rotor. So you'd be able to feel them. It's like it would start to feel like an old record and have lines in it. So you can certainly check that with just your eyeballs. And as you can see, there are no, I mean, there's going to be a little bit, but none of those are deep. Like you can't feel that with your finger. What will happen is if you really screw up your brakes and you let your brake pads wear down to nothing, is then you'll have metal on metal and then you'll really be grinding that up. Okay. So our rotors are looking just fine. Okay. So here's the camera. I got it turned on. There's the camera with the little light in it. And then I got it linked up to my phone. Okay. So there's the camera moving around. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this camera and I'm going to stick it inside the tire where the brakes are. And you can kind of maneuver it. The cable's like bendy. So you can put it at, whatever angle you need. So I'm going to stick it in here. And then I can look at my brake. So let's get over here near where the brake pad is. So that's part of the caliper. And then if you can tell, that's the actual brake pad. See, that's where the brake pad meets up with the rotor, okay? And I don't know if you can tell, but I can tell that there is plenty of wear left on that brake pad, okay? That thing would be much skinnier and more degraded if there was, if I needed new brake pads, okay? So now what I'm going to do, this little app that I'm looking at the camera through lets you save video or photos. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save photos of my brake pads to show that my brakes are in good shape. All right, so I took that photo. It's over here. And it's date stamped and everything. So that I have that in my files as evidence of my brake pads being good. So I'm going to do that for all 4 tires. All right, next is LP gas check and appliance check. Those kind of go together, so let's figure that out. Okay, for LP check, the big deal is it leaking? Leaking propane bad. And then you also want to make sure that your appliances that run off of LP are working. So, obviously, first thing we got to do is turn on the gas. There she goes. So, sometimes she's going to take a second, right? Because, it takes some time. The propane hadn't been on, so it takes some time for the propane to get from the tank up to here. So let's turn the other one on. All right. So there you go. Both burners are on. Excellent. Turn those off. Okay. Stove's good. Now the other appliance that uses propane, of course, is the Truma. So we need to test the Truma. So what I'm going to do, obviously I'm going to turn the Truma on. And I'll make sure she's on gas. Did you know that's the default? She defaults to gas. So I had the entire electric system turned off in here. And when you turn it back on, it defaults to gas. So just so you know that. Little point, little tip. Okay. So let's crank the heat up. And let's crank. I'm just going to put the hot water on eco. As long as it heats up, we're good. All right, we're going to let that set a little bit. Okay, we're going to let that do its thing while we inspect some other stuff. All right, other appliance check. Well, there's the refrigerator. I don't have the refrigerator on. So let's turn it on real quick and see if it starts to cool off. All right, so let's just crank that all the way on. And I've got the temperature sensor in here. So there's the sensor. We'll see if that starts to drop. Basically, it is 52, 53 in the fridge and freezer. So we'll see if those start to drop, and then I'm gonna consider that in working order. All right, CO2 detector. I think what they mean is a CO detector, because there is not a CO2 detector. So here we go. Let's look at our carbon monoxide detector. All right, here she is in the test. So we just push the button. There she goes. She gives you a chirp. And then she gives you the beeps. Fire extinguisher. All right. So I got 2 fire extinguishers in here. I got one near the galley. So this does not have a pressure gauge on it. So this little guy, this little button up here, you push it down, and if it pops back up, you still have pressure. See? You would remove this to actually spray it. So this is how you test it. You just push it down. Also, these have to be taken out of service 12 years after manufacture. And you look on the bottom for the manufacture date. This one is 2015. So I'm good to go there still. All right, my other fire extinguisher is in the door, the passenger door. That's for if you have a fire outside or in your camp area, you can just throw that door open and get it. This one does have a pressure gauge, and that is at full. And it was built in 2019, so definitely within the 12 years. So good to go there. Okay, smoke detector. Y'all know how I love the location of the smoke detector. Anyway, smoke detector. It works. Look, I even put a label for renters. Remove battery before cooking. Seriously, Winnebago. Seriously. Now, one thing they should have on here, and I guess it just goes with the LP gas check, is I have an LP detector. All right. So these do have to be replaced every now and then, based on age. But anyway, so I'm going to test the LP detector down here. There we go. It's down on the floor because LP is heavier than air, and so any leaking LP will be down here. Again, I still have the gas on, so the detector has not gone off, and I do not smell gas. Whew. The Truma is cranking out some heat, so I know the heat part of the Truma is functioning just fine. Let's check the hot water here. If you're wondering why the pump makes that obnoxious noise, it does that when there's air in the lines. Because I just cleaned the pump filter. Yep, that water is definitely, well, it's not super hot because I haven't had it on that long, but it's definitely warm, so the trim is working. Okay, yeah, I never smelled propane. The propane detector never went off. I've now turned the propane back off. Because I do not believe that I have any leaks. And all my propane appliances are working. So, I think we are good on propane. And let's see. Oh, look at that. And the temperatures of my fridge and freezer have dropped. So we know that it's at least, it's coming on. So I'm going to call that good on a fridge check. Alright, water pump filters. So, I wrote that in because, as we've discussed previously, those are a couple things you need to clean out. So, I'm going to get down here and make sure that my filters are cleaned out. So I'm good to go there. Alright, so I just cleaned out the two water pump filters, the one on the shower drain and the one on the main pump. So noted that I cleaned those out ×2. Alright, page 2. Alright, fuel generator mileage readings. Alright, let's get to that. Alright, here's our odometer reading. Excellent. Fuel. Turn the lights on. My gas gauge is on full. Alright, I think that's all we need from there. Alright, odometer. 23974 miles. Fuel is full. Let's see here. Propane, LP gas, 1/2. Dumped. Yes. Okay. Alright. I don't know why tire condition and tire inspection aren't the same thing. I'm going to take tire condition to mean tire pressure. Because we already did the inspection and looked at the tread and everything, so I don't know why it's on here twice, but okay. Alright, so thanks, Outdoorsy. I don't know why this isn't on the part when you're doing your tire inspection, but anyway, your form is dumb. Anyway, so I'm not driving her today, so I'm not going to be able to get the pressures off of my head unit, because the TPMS, you have to actually be rolling for a little bit for it to register your current pressures. So I'm just going to use the tire pressure thing. Now you need to make sure it goes up high enough. I think this one goes to 150 PSI. So remember, you want front at 65 and you want rear at 80. So let's see what we get here. 65, right on the money. All right, let's see what the rear tire gives us. All right, I'm getting 77. So the rear tire could use a couple pounds. Now, in fairness, it can vary with the temperature too. So, I'm not like panicked. Obviously, before I take her out, I check the tire pressures. And being 3 pounds down is not an indication that I have a tire leak. Trust me, I've had a tire leak. And 3 pounds was not where it went to. All right, tire condition. Again, good. ×4. I don't know what else you want me to say, Outdoorsy. Look, they got tire pressure down here, too. Like, seriously, I don't even know what all you're asking. Anyway, all right, let's go check the awning. Okay, well, there's the awning. And I replaced the outdoor speakers. I didn't do a video on that for y'all because there wasn't really much to see, first of all. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You take the old ones out and you put the new ones in. The wires, you just disconnect and stick them right on the new ones. And also, I'm working with sealant. And as Uncle Pat can attest, I'm very messy with sealant. I still got some sealant on my fingers from working on those speakers yesterday. Anyway, they're in. They sound really good. I'm not going to demonstrate because I don't want to get a copyright claim on my video. But they're in. They're way better than the stock Jensen speakers. And so I'm pretty excited that that is done. All right, back to the inspection. All right, let's put the awning out. Awning out. All right. She's a little squeaky. She might need some WD-40. God, y'all, that's a big awning. I'll tell you what. It is. It's a giant awning on a van. Anyway, it came out. Looks good to me. So I mean, it does get some little, I mean, it gets some dirt from the rolling up bits on it. I may try to scramble up the ladder and look at the top side of it too. But other than that, so far so good. Alright, well obviously I'm up here on the roof of the van. There's the awning. The top of the awning looks great. I don't see any holes, scrapes, damage, nothing. Top of the van still looks great. Solar panels are clean. Sealant looks good. I don't see any issues there. So that's good. They really should have you inspect the roof of the rig. Outdoorsy on your inspection form. I mean, really. Alright, let's bring the awning back in. There she goes. All right. Well, that was exciting. Exciting stuff. All right. Awning condition. I'm going to say it's good. No tears, holes. Retract. Tested. 131.21. Okay. The final condition check. As if the other stuff wasn't, I don't know. All right, we did check the tire pressure. We did check the tire tread. Again, why is this 3 different places? I don't know. Okay. Now we got to get under the hood for the rest of this. Let's see. Generator oil, that's not a thing. Mirrors. What do you mean by mirrors? I mean, I have mirrors. I guess to see if they work? I don't know. All right, well, let's go check the lights and the turn signals and all the other things. Okay, lights are on. Let's go check. Yes, I have headlights. I have tail lights. I have 1 tail light. I have 2 tail lights. I can't really test the brake lights because I'm but one person. I guess I could put a brick on it, but I'm gonna assume we're good to go. Alright, turn signal. Blinky, blinky. Blinky, blinky. Other turn signal. Okay. Blinky, blinky. Blinky, blinky. Okay, I think that's it. Lights and turns. I mean, I know my mirrors work because I just recently used them. I guess that's what they mean. I don't know. I mean, this is a generic checklist, so they could mean other rigs' mirrors are a thing, but okay, whatever. All right, let's go under the hood. Got motor oil, dipstick. It's a very long dipstick. There we go. It's a very long dipstick with a very short indicator. Alright, I wipe that off. Back in. Back out. And can you see that? Oh, there we go. Full. We're good on oil. Motor oil. Check. Windshield fluid. Alright, wiper fluid. Well, it goes in here. And then that's the tank. And that looks, I mean, I can kind of shake the van and it moves around a little bit, so that's good. All right, transmission fluid. It's got its own little dipstick. So, there you go. It's between Max and Min. So, good there. All right, transmission fluid. I'm calling the mirrors good. Radiator fluid. It's right here. Between Max and Min. I'm all good there. All right, y'all. I think that's it. I took pictures so I can file them with this form. I'm obviously going to sign it and everything. And that's it. She's inspected. All right, y'all. So that was the inspection. So that took a little bit of time, but a lot of that was because I was filming, showing y'all what I was doing. If I was just running through that checklist on a regular, then, I mean, 30 minutes maybe a little longer, because you gotta like let the fridge and the heater do their thing to make sure they're in working order. Anyway, that's the inspection form. So don't be intimidated by it. It's not that hard. And you can certainly do it at home. It's no big deal. I will see you on the road.